I'd like to call the Tuesday, July 8th, 2025 special Ion City Council meeting to order. Janice, could you please call roll?
Councilmember Mitchell,
Here.
Vice Mayor Maida,
Here.
Rhodes,
Here.
and we have Councilmember Atlin and Lefane out tonight.
Okay, will you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get approval of the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
We have first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Open up the public comment items not on the agenda. Does anyone here speak items not on the agenda?
I'll be first. Marcia Edick. I have a question about the proceedings. This is a public meeting. The censure policy indicates that the censure has to be in a public meeting. I want to verify first that there will be an opportunity for public comment before this goes to council vote.
As always, yeah.
Okay, good. Just wanted to verify because there was kind of some skepticism earlier today. So I'll take this opportunity to address another issue. Save the second part for my second visit up here. I note that the censure had gone forward. There was.
This item's on the agenda.
I'm talking about the minutes. If you'll let me finish my sentence, please, sir.
No, you can
Okay.
speak during the subject.
Okay, so I'm.
This is items not on the agenda.
Okay, going to ask about the minutes, okay? So
What minutes?
the minutes from the March 25th, 2025 meeting and the minutes from the April 15th meeting are missing. I was hoping to maybe get an answer from the clerk or at least prompt some action to get them completed. I note, Madam Clerk, that the agenda for the May 20th meeting had the minutes from the March 18th meeting for approval for council. And then the next meeting was June 3rd. And that agenda had the minutes for the April 1st and the April 24th meeting. But nowhere can I find the minutes from March 15th, which related to something apparently I'm not supposed to talk about, but it was a special meeting. And then the minutes from April 1st, hoping maybe we can get those posted on the website at some point.
That's because the last minutes that I did for the Councilmember Lefane pulled them. She didn't like the way they were presented. She
Okay.
wanted more in an action form, and so the city attorney was supposed to get with me to figure out which form that she likes.
Okay,
But before that, she has pulled them because she accused me of doing AI, accused me of somebody else doing them. I've been accused of presenting too many minutes at one time. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly the format that she wants.
okay,
That's
so,
what I'm waiting for.
okay, thank you for that information. So pretty much where we stand is it's in city council's, or I'm sorry, yeah, city council's hands, I think you said,
Well,
for those two particular meeting
we need to
minutes.
talk about, yes,
Okay,
what exactly Councilmember Lefane would want. So,
okay, so at some point.
and I
they
don't know why it's up to one council member to approve them, but
Well, I don't
Should
think
be.
it is, but, I mean, I've seen minutes pulled, but I just thought at some point.
You
it
got
would
1
be
minute.
addressed.
Right.
Okay, so it's in the works.
yes,
Thank you very
we'll be
much.
done.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment not on the agenda?
Yeah, good evening. I'm Scott Williams. I live up over on the other side of town. Intimidation should
never be tolerated in this chamber. Bullying only results in silencing the voice of reason and logic, and it eliminates the opportunity for financial due diligence. The city is currently spending a lot of money to further what seems like a personal agenda. Dysfunction is the inevitable result of such a lack of transparency. And hopefully, Ione can do better.
Any other public comment?
Oh, man, I didn't get appreciated by the Peter Howard tonight. Sorry about that. Yeah, mine has more to do with the golf course. I guess there was some of the folks were putting pictures up and saying certain people were responsible for the golf course and how this came to fruition. I basically wanted to read from Judy Chang. She was Mr. Han's attorney, letter stating what Mr. Han had been watching the progress. This has nothing to do with anything tonight. She just says, "Dear members of the Ione City Council, we've been following the city council meetings recently and we're shocked to see that former Mayor LaFane was being censured. We feel that we cannot sit back on false accusations be thrown around about someone who was always honest and transparent with us. Allison LaFane is the sole reason the city is not currently facing lawsuits from us."
This is a subject of the meeting.
This is something that was sent to you guys on June 13th.
We know that.
So it has nothing to do with the censure. This is.
Yes, it does.
No,
Yes, it does.
I'm not talking about the censor here. I'm talking about what Mr. Han had to say about the golf course. So they go on to say the reason the golf course went through and we aren't in a lawsuit over this is because that Allison had done that. Somebody else was trying to trade credit for the golf course going through, and it was being published that way. It basically says in here, we were on the brink of closing the golf course and filing lawsuits. When Mayor LaFane reached out to us, she did nothing but reassure the city, make efforts to close our deal and ask us to be patient with them. Her kindness and transparency are the reasons the deal remained on the table for as long as it did. Without her reaching out, the course would be closed and the city would likely be facing lawsuits. We would like to firmly state, and I guess you could argue that point, but because they do say that, but it basically says City Manager George Lee and former city attorney Andy Panasco have lied to us and threatened us several times during the timeline of the original sale of Castle Oaks. So this is a letter that every city council person got. Josh got it, and so did the city manager. I just wanted to read that in tonight. Doesn't have anything to, I'm not talking about the censor. I'm talking about the closing of the golf course, and certain people were trying to take credit for this happening. Those people did not get credit. Mr. Han was calling them out on that. He signed it at the bottom. So that's all I have.
Gary Thomas. Maybe she was a little too transparent. I saw a few emails. If they were true, she needs to immediately resign. Thank you.
And now for something completely different. That was a great car show. That was a great car show. That was the greatest thing since two-tone cars. That was so good. And everybody had a good time. And as someone who played pedal steel in the country bands all my younger, wilder days, seeing Tammy Wynette's bus there, I just wanted to break out in the chorus of Stand By Your Man.
I'm sure you partied in it, Tommy.
Yeah, you know me well. No, the thing is, what I'm getting at is that there's so many good things in this city, and that car show is going to be good for decades. And maybe next year we'll have it even bigger and have some food buses there, or whatever you call them, and really, get a good band in there. And that's what I'm talking about, is this wonderful city of Ione. And we're going to need to get this stuff behind us about this, that, and the other thing. I have strong feelings about it because I know most of the people sitting up there and I like them all. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I sure would appreciate it if there was an extra cop car, if we could get one of those old cars and park it in the front, man. They drive through town fast now. Ever since we let the chief out of his broom closet that he was in, it's all gone to their heads now. I think they're doing just so well up there. But they drive too fast through town. Let's get that done and see what's the last thing, because I don't come to meetings much anymore. I guess that's about it. God bless all. Thank you.
Tommy.
Thank you, sir.
Real quick, Tommy, I just want to let you know, it's Chief right here. Just want to let you know that we do have a motor officer now that is doing specified patrol on Main Street, slowing cars down. So he did a bunch of stops earlier this week. So he's been out doing it. Okay.
Good to know. Demi Wright, also positive comment. I just want to shout out Selena because we have a nonprofit helping kids in Amador County get swim lessons. And this year we had 56 kids that we helped. We've turned no one away, but a huge group of that is Selena accommodated every family we brought to IOM. So thank you, Selena. I don't know how she fit everyone in, but she did.
Any other public comment?
Any other positive comments?
Got anyone on Zoom, Chief?
No.
All right, we'll close public comment. Okay. With that said, how we're gonna run the meeting, will not be passing off minutes in this meeting. When your 4 minutes is up, your 4 minutes is up. We have one regular agenda item. Review and discuss the investigation report of the proposed censure of Councilmember LaFane, censure initiated by Mayor Stacy Rhodes. The council may consider further action pertaining to the proposed censure. Before we start, I would like to make a motion to release the entire document and to release all the emails that pertain to the schedule of this meeting to the public.
I second that.
First and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. So if you would like, Janice has copies for everyone of the entire investigation. I think it's missing some,
I would only add that, I'll let everyone.
let everyone, give you a couple minutes, grab it. Yeah, we'll take a 5-minute recess so you guys can read it.
Patrice,
You need more copies?
Patrice, do we need more copies, Patrice?
Yeah.
You need more copies? Are we out of copies?
Trees, right there.
Mr. Mayor, did you recess?
Yeah, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess so you guys can flip through it and then we'll start again in 4 minutes.
I'm just gonna say that, that's what my priorities is to try to.
Here you go. All right, we're back from the recess. We had some time to read that. Council, would you like to make a remark? The other thing I wanted to release was about the scheduling of this
Sure.
meeting.
I will let the emails on the scheduling of the meeting speak for themselves, and the public can make the determination if it was mishandled at all. But generally, I wanted to say staff doesn't have the authority to call special meetings. Only the mayor or a majority of the council have that power. But we checked on everyone's availability, July 27th, June 27th, excuse me. And I didn't have actual confirmation from Ms. Lefane until Sunday that she would not be in attendance, and there was no intention to exclude anyone. We want all council members to be here, but the emails will be released, and you can make that determination.
All right, thank you. All right, with that, we'll proceed. Mr. Miles.
Thank you and good evening. I'm Mark Miles. I'm an attorney with McKinley, Conger, Jolly, and Galarno in Stockton. I've been doing workplace investigations exclusively for the past 3 years. Prior to that, I was with San Joaquin County Counsel's Office for 17 years. This is not my first go around in dealing with censures. I was retained to conduct the investigation pursuant to the censure policy for the city of Ione. The city council determined after a preliminary hearing that investigation was necessary. The preliminary documents in the petition for the censure set out 5 categories that they believe, or where they believe that there was wrongdoing or misconduct by Councilmember Lefane. Those were broken down into, I broke those down into 7 categories just because some of them were compound and it was easier to address them as piecemeal as we broke them out. So I'll go through the summary through those documents now. In the course of the investigation, I interviewed approximately 17 people. I reviewed over 500 pages of documents, emails, social media posts. Not all of them are attached, thank goodness. You wouldn't want to see all of them, but I have attached to the documents that you have the emails and the social media posts that were relevant to the issues that were contained in the petition. In conducting this investigation, the standard of proof is whether it's more likely than not that a fact or an incident did or did not occur. When I take on this investigation, my role is not as a legal advisor to the city council. I'm not a legal advisor to any of the participants in the investigation. I use my skills as an attorney to evaluate the facts, to gather facts, and come to a conclusion. I present that conclusion, and that is what is before you this evening. No one has attempted to influence the decisions that I've made or the findings that are contained in this report. Principally, the facts or the incidents that are involved in this investigation arose during 2024 during Councilmember Lefane's term as mayor. And a lot of them deal with the Castle Oaks transactions. That's where a lot of the emails deal with, and we will go through those. The first claim was that question was whether it was more likely than not that Councilmember Lefane, without authorization, disclosed closed session information to a party with which the city was negotiating in relation to the Castle Oaks Golf Club. Lefane acknowledged exchanging emails with representatives of the Hahn organization in October of 2024, and she acknowledged that the city council had not told her that she could engage in those conversations. Ultimately, the city council did tell her to prepare a letter to send to the Hahn organization, which she did. She claimed that the reason that she was exchanging emails with the representatives of the HAN organization was that the deal had gotten off track. And she was doing it because things had gotten contentious. There was a pending closure of the golf course, and she said that Attorney Panasco was blocking her attempts to call a special meeting. Government Code 54950, which is the Brown Act, governs how local agencies conduct their meetings, generally requiring that the meetings are held like this in an open public forum in a notice meeting. There are exceptions to the Brown Act that allow the council and local agencies to meet in closed session and to have confidential discussions with their attorneys, real estate agents, etc. The Brown Act prohibits the disclosure of confidential information acquired by being present in closed session. It defines confidential information as communication made in a closed session that is specifically related to the basis for the legislative body of the local agency meeting in closed session. The Attorney General has, in the context of real estate negotiations, has said that that relates to the amount of consideration that the local agency is willing to pay, the form, manner, and timing of how that consideration will be paid, and items that are essential to arriving at the authorized price and payment terms. There were a couple points in the correspondence between LaFane and the representatives of the HAN organization where LaFane, I believe, came close to disclosing closed session information, but I don't believe that she ever crossed that boundary. When I was conducting the interviews, I asked those who would have had knowledge of what those closed session discussions were, whether any of the emails identified closed session information, and no one was able to identify or point to specific information that was specifically closed session information. Based on that, based on those facts, the preponderance of the evidence did not support the conclusion that LaFane had disclosed closed session information. Part of that first allegation in the petition also, though, was that she was communicating with and negotiating with the HAN organization without council authority. As I said previously, LaFane acknowledged that she was sending the emails and that she was responding to emails from the HAN organization. And she said that she had done that because it was becoming contentious. There was a pending closure of the golf course, and that Panasco was blocking her closed session meeting attempts. She said, I reached out and said, I'm going to take care of this to sort of stop things from moving forward. That was my intent. Stop the closure of the golf course, sort of maybe settle Mr. Hahn down. And so I'm feeling a sort of mediator type person. It's clear from Council Member LaFane's comments and acknowledgements that she was exchanging the emails. We have those emails. They are attached as exhibits to this report. We know that that occurred before the city council met and gave her authorization to send the letter, because that happened about October 15th. The petition also said that LaFane was negotiating with a third party. And if you look at the definition of negotiating, broadly stated, it means to confer with another so as to arrive at the settlement of some matter. If you think back to what I just said about what LaFane's motive was and her reasoning for engaging in that, it was to move that deal forward. It was becoming contentious. She wanted to settle it down. She wanted to avoid the closure. She was trying to move that deal forward. And that meets that definition of negotiating. Based on those facts, the preponderance of evidence shows that Councilmember LaFane was communicating with the HAN representatives without council approval and broadly speaking, was communicating with the Han representatives to further the transactions, thereby negotiating. Accordingly, that allegation is sustained. The third point was whether it's more likely than not that Councilmember LaFane interfered with duties of city staff and ignored the city council, the council city manager form of government. And this referenced a recent sewer investigation by contractor Justin Granados of Waterstone. Attached to the report were statements that were provided by Mr. Granados and also by city employee Zach Finch. These statements were in agreement that when Councilmember LaFane was at the incident, that not only was she present, and being present, by the way, it is not a violation and is not anything, there's nothing wrong with her having been present, responding to a constituent's concerns. That is not the issue. The issue was how she conducted herself when she was at the incident. And the statements from Granados and from Finch relate that as Granados was trying to explain to the resident what was occurring and what the options were, and the fact that what the city's responsibility was, as well as what the homeowner's responsibility was that Councilmember LaFane would speak over him, would say that the options that he was offering were unrealistic and were not going to happen, and was demanding that he provide some immediate fix or some resolution to that problem. Part and parcel of that allegation was that Councilmember LaFane had overstepped the boundaries and the relationship between the council and the city manager form of government. One of the things that Councilmember LaFane did in the course of that incident was to file a hazardous waste report with the state saying that there had been a hazardous spill at that residence because of waste spilling out onto the sidewalk and into the street. She signed that form as a member of the city council. The city ordinances are specific that the city manager is the individual who would be responsible for interfacing with all state and local agencies regarding hazardous spills. So that would have been a responsibility that fell on the city manager to take care of, not a responsibility for city council member. The preponderance of the evidence supports a finding that LaFane interfered with the duties of staff, not by her presence, but by how she engaged with Granados at the scene, demanding that he provide a solution to the program or to the problem. The preponderance of the evidence also supports the finding that LaFane ignored the city manager form of government by filing the hazardous spill report in her capacity as a council member, and that allegation is sustained. The fourth allegation had to do with whether it was more likely than not that Councilmember LaFane failed to uphold standards of civility and decorum dealing with social media comments with Demi Wright. In the public meeting of March 25th, LaFane said that she and Wright got along great before Ms. Wright's social media post of February 23rd, 2024. LaFane said that she had posted on her personal Facebook page addressing the horse community. She said that someone sent that to Wright and that Wright responded to the Ione News and Safety Facebook page, stating that she felt compelled to respond to some of LaFane's accusations. In the interview, LaFane acknowledged that the way that the exchange between she and Wright played out over Facebook was inappropriate. She said that it was not something that she was proud of, calling it shameful. Referring to the printed record of the Facebook post, she said, "It's been hard seeing that." She said it was out of character for her and felt that these comments were being shared on social media, as they were being shared on social media, were damaging to her reputation. Other council members shared similar concern that the comments as they played out on social media were damaging to the image of the city and to the image of the city council. The city has three primary documents that govern its affairs, how it conducts business, and how the council members are to conduct themselves. They're the municipal code, the protocol manual, and the city's code of ethics. Excuse me. Only small portions of each of those documents are relevant to this discussion. The documents in themselves do not define those terms civility, decorum, or professionalism, nor do they speak to how council members should conduct themselves on social media or when engaging with staff or committee members. But they do generally speak about how council members are to conduct themselves in meetings. And I believe that that is relevant to the discussion of civility and professionalism. The municipal code says that members are to confine themselves to the questions before the council and to avoid personal or indecorous language. It also states that no member shall interrupt another except to make a point of order, nor shall any member conduct themselves in such a manner as to create disorder or to confuse. The protocol manual says that when members are communicating with the public, expressing personal views and not those of the council, the public should be so advised that they are their personal views. Additionally, when they are speaking on matters that the council has not taken a position on, the members should clearly indicate that they're not speaking on behalf of the city council. It also says that in public meetings and in other public forums, council members are to demonstrate respect, trust, kindness, consideration, and courtesy of others. They are to serve as a role model of leadership and civility to the community, inspire public confidence in the city of Ione government, demonstrate honesty and integrity in every action and statement, and be responsible and accountable for their words and actions. The Code of Ethics says that council members, as it's relevant here, says that council members shall recognize that they are agents of public purpose and not owners of authority, that they shall always consider how their official acts and personal behavior may be interpreted by the public. Collectively, these documents call for council members to conduct themselves in an orderly manner, to be clear about their communications, and state when they are expressing their own opinions rather than speaking for the council. Council members are expected to demonstrate respect, build and honor trust, practice kindness, consideration, and courtesy towards others. Council members are called to serve as role models of leadership and civility to the community, to inspire public confidence in the city of Ione government, and to demonstrate honesty and integrity in every action and statement. Council members are called to be responsible and accountable for their words and actions, avoiding personal attacks in public and closed forums. Councilmember LaFane has acknowledged that her public exchange with Ms. Wright was inappropriate. The comments that she made fell below the expectations described in these city documents. The preponderance of the evidence supports the allegation that Councilmember LaFane failed to uphold standards of civility and decorum and maintain professional relationships with city staff and committees. This allegation is sustained. Excuse me. The fifth allegation was whether it's more likely than not that Councilmember LaFane failed to maintain standards of professionalism with city staff and committees, repeated conduct and correspondence with Attorney Andy Panasco during open and closed session, continuous correspondence with former City Attorney Panasco causing unnecessary legal expense to the city. During the meeting of March 25th, LaFane said that as to that allegation, I'll admit to that because Mr. Penasco was not doing his job. In her interview, Councilmember LaFane indicated that she contacted Penasco about non-legal matters, such as sending emails about who was to be included in staff emails, and to tell the city manager who could or could not attend agenda preparation meetings. LaFane reviewed email chains that I provided dated August 12th and October 16th, and indicated that the lengthy nature of those documents were characteristic of some of the exchanges that she had had with Penasco. There were divided comments among the city council members about whether Attorney Penasco was following directions of the city council or not. Some said that he was directed to write nice letters, and he didn't. Others said that he was doing exactly what the city council had directed. I don't draw a conclusion about whether Penasco was doing what he was directed to or not. The manual, the protocol manual says that as to the council city attorney relationship, with the exception of conflict of interest inquiries, in questions involving pending or upcoming matters or protocol and procedure, the city attorney's services are engaged and directed through the city manager. Individual council members may seek advice or assistance from the city attorney on other matters, exercising best judgment on the most efficient and appropriate use of those resources. In the year that LaFane was mayor, there were more than 60 email chains between LaFane and Penasco. And by chain, I don't mean an email and a response. I mean multiple responses back and forth. The majority of these email chains consisted of 6 or more emails. Some of the email chains, when printed, consisted of 12 pages or more. All of the emails concerned matters that were presently pending or upcoming matters for the city council or protocol and procedure issues. The review of Councilmember LaFane's emails with the current city attorney show that he has received more than 90 emails from LaFane and billed more than 20 hours researching and responding to those. This does not include email exchanges with the city attorney related to the horse arena lease. The preponderance of the evidence supports a conclusion that LaFane had frequent, extensive email exchanges with Penasco that, according to the protocol manual, should have been directed through the city manager's office. She has continued this practice with the current city attorney. The preponderance of the evidence supports the conclusion that LaFane was responsible for a significant portion of the legal charges without approval of the city manager. This allegation is sustained. Item 6 is whether it is more likely than not that Councilmember LaFane posted derogatory comments on social media about city staff, which were harmful to city staff morale. The ability of a municipal agency, a city, a county, a local agency, to restrict a member's ability to post on comments on social media is difficult at best. City councils, counties, local agencies often adopt advisory protocol. However, and I heard it in this very room before the meeting started, was that there's an issue of the First Amendment. There's always an issue of the First Amendment and an individual's right to make those comments. This analysis doesn't get into the question of whether Councilmember LaFane had a right to make the comments or didn't have a right to make the comments. It was a question of whether those comments had a negative impact on staff members and on staff morale. LaFane just denied saying that staff was corrupt, but acknowledged saying that staff were not following procedures because they were bypassing RFP processes. However, she clarified that when she wrote staff, she meant the city manager, but said that she was not going to, thank you, but said that she was not going to call out the city manager by name. Thank you. As most of you know, probably, the Ione News and Safety Facebook group is a closed group. I had asked for permission to access it or permission to be a member so that I could review, because when I gather information in an investigation, I want to see everything. I don't like to be handed cherry-picked documents. I want to see the complete document, because there may be something on page 2 that I'm not provided that completely exonerates or changes the context of what's being offered for, right? I asked to be allowed entry to that group and did not receive a response. So I was not able to verify for myself whether there were negative comments made about staff members on social media or not, other than what was attached to the petition. Included with the petition and the documents that I was provided were 2 statements from former employees, both of them saying that the conduct of Councilmember LaFane and her social media posts had resulted in part in why they were no longer with the city, why they no longer worked here. One said that LaFane's post on social media about how awful and corrupt the staff was. She said LaFane would complain that they were not following procedures, but would not identify which procedures she thought they were not following. She asked LaFane to explain why she thought staff were corrupt, but LaFane would never answer and would get angry or storm off. She noted that it felt personal, and that was one of the main reasons she left city employment. Another stated that LaFane's persistent antagonism towards staff and leadership, along with her misrepresentation of facts, has created unnecessary obstacles to the city's advancement. And that her comments implied a level of incompetence for the staff. The preponderance of the evidence supports a finding that LaFane made social media comments that at a minimum that staff were incompetent, even though she claimed that by staff, she meant the city manager. The preponderance of evidence supports the allegation that these comments had a negative impact on staff and their ability to do their jobs. Therefore, the allegation is sustained. And arriving at the last one, which I'm sure you're glad for. Whether it was more likely than not that Councilmember LaFane wrote derogatory comments on social media regarding other council members and other county agencies, such as the Amador Water Authority, posting accusatory comments without facts, caused strained relations with public agencies that are important to the city's normal operations. LaFane claimed that there was a constant back and forth between she and Rhodes, with Mayor Rhodes making statements in the Ledger Dispatch and other places. LaFane said that she did not think that her comments about Amador Water were derogatory. She said that in her opinion, the agreement that was presented to the city did not benefit anyone in Ione, while the agency was proposing to pass a $14 million project onto the city for the turf replacement. LaFane said that she did not think that her comments harmed the relationship. However, in the meeting of March 25th, she acknowledged that she was in error about the agreement with Amador Water and admitted she was wrong. LaFane also said that there was a problem with dust at the arena, so she posted on the neighborhood chat and provided a link to the Amador Air Quality Board for people to be able to lodge complaints. She said that it blew up and people were saying that she turned the city into the EPA and the city would be fined tens of thousands of dollars. LaFane said that EPA was never mentioned in her post. She said that the dust problem was caused by traffic being rerouted to the soccer fields, and that a day or two later, the city received a letter from U.S. Mines claiming that she was slandering their employee. LaFane posted in Ione Politics that because she would not reappoint people to committees, Rhodes and others retaliated against her. In the same post, in a paragraph referring to Mayor Rhodes, she wrote that she was public enemy number one because I don't bow down to the corruption. She also accused Rhodes and Councilmember Mitchell of attempting to tamper with public records. She also accused the current and past city administrations of violating the law and giving all city jobs to friends. LaFane did not provide facts to explain how the resignation of the Creek Commission was retaliation. She did not explain how Mitchell and Rhodes attempted to tamper with public records, and she did not provide examples of the city jobs that were given to friends in violation of competitive bidding laws. The comments alleged to be derogatory about Amador Water were comments stating the information presented to the council was not about drought and turf, but about Amador Water making money, and that Amador Water was throwing money to the city to make money on a new development. These comments, while critical of the supposed motives behind the actions of Amador Water, and while the turf project did not go through, Amador Water agreed to fund an alternative project that, according to some council members, was a better project with no strings attached. While the comments are critical and may be considered derogatory, it does not appear that the comments had a negative impact on the relationship between the city and Amador Water. As to the dust and U.S. Mines, LaFane's comments about the dust at the arena included complaints about the city administration claiming that city bromances and nepotism run the show, and pointing out that Rhodes works for a massive corporation that contributes to the air quality. Following these posts, the city did receive an unsigned letter from U.S. Mines expressing their displeasure with such treatment. The preponderance of the evidence supports the conclusion that LaFane made comments that were critical of the supposed motives of Amador Water, but there is no evidence that these comments had a negative impact on the relationship between the city and Amador Water Agency. The preponderance of the evidence supports the conclusion that LaFane's comment that U.S. Mines contributes to the air quality in the area, and U.S. Mines responded, expressing concern over her statement. But the letter states that U.S. Mines continues to support the city of Ione despite LaFane's comments. The preponderance of the evidence supports the conclusion that LaFane made derogatory comments about other council members without providing facts to support those statements, and that those accusations have harmed relations with the other council members. For the foregoing reasons, this allegation is sustained as it relates to comments about city council members and not sustained as it relates to comments about Amador Water and U.S. Mines. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
All right, thank you for your report, Mark. My original purpose in filing the censure request was to expose once and for all the constant chaos Councilmember LaFane has been causing in the city. Her constant harassment of staff and the general public and other public officials has to stop. The constant lies and mistruths she posts on social media is doing nothing but harm to our town. LaFane constantly promotes herself as a champion of the rules and protocol, but yet this report clearly shows this is one who has continued to break all the rules of city policies. She tries to portray herself as a victim, but the real victim is our town, our residents, and our city staff. LaFane continues to talk about our expenses, but herself is wasting resources by harassing our previous attorney and our present attorney and staff. When she doesn't get her way, the report shows she threatens people's livelihoods. It's time to stop.
I have a question, and it may seem leading, but I just want to make sure that it's stated here in this meeting. You mentioned it earlier, but did any council members try to influence you in any way in this report?
No,
Did the city manager or the city attorney try to influence you in any report?
no,
Did Mr. Panasco try to influence you in this report?
absolutely not.
Okay, did any of the witnesses try to influence you in this report?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mitchell?
No question. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
All right, with that said, I guess we'll open up to public comment. Does anyone want to speak on this?
Gary Thomas, which I don't know if it was included in this report or not. I think I heard a little bit about it, but I'm also wondering about the number of emails and the harassment that she had to Andy Panasco and to the general manager, Mr. George Lee. I heard that they were numerous and that they were very costly and they were very disturbing. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Marcia Edick again. I'm going to open this up with a comment relating to the censure policy, which is on page 3, subsection 7. And it specifically notes, it's entitled Participation of Named Official. At any hearing, and that's emphasis, any hearing, where a matter is heard before council, the named official shall be given the opportunity to make an opening or closing statement, question council, etc. And obviously, we know that Allison is not here tonight. She made it known well in advance of tonight's meeting that she couldn't attend, but here we are. So I'm going to move on to the next part. I just wanted to get that on the record. How many of you here have heard the phrase show trial? A show trial is quite simply a mockery of justice, where the legal process is manipulated for political gain. It's not so much about guilt or innocence. Instead, it serves as a warning to future dissidents and any and all opponents to consolidate power. Well, that's exactly what we've seen here. And Lord only knows what this cost, okay? We know originally the contract was around $15,000, but we had the censure, revisement, et cetera, et cetera. My guess is it's going to be well over $30,000, maybe $40,000. Hope you all feel good about that. It was evident to me from the get-go how all of this was going to play out. And I say that starting with the March 25th meeting, at which time it was determined that an investigator would be hired to investigate the censure. Lo and behold, though, at the April 15th meeting, there were no investigator candidates promoted to city council. There were 3 attorneys. One attorney who is sitting here in this room, who I believe has some kind of current or former relationship with Andy Panasco, the former city attorney of the city of Ione. Haven't figured that out completely yet, but there is some relationship. And I would imagine that perhaps Mr. Miles shared that information with the city attorney and or the city manager. And so therefore, I would like to ask, before the city council made the decision to hire this particular attorney investigator, was the city council made aware of that potential conflict of interest? You know, here's my word of warning for anybody who might want to seek a position on city council. I think you need to keep in mind that you're going to need to align every vote on every issue with the mayor and or his cohorts, or you will soon find yourself walking down the same path that Allison has been traveling. So let me repeat what I said earlier so it really sinks in.
You got 30 seconds.
This was done to serve as a warning to future dissidents and to eliminate any and all opponents to consolidate power. Well done, city council members, city manager, and city attorney. You reached your goal in the political persecution of a council member all designed to serve the ruling power and at who knows what ultimate cost.
I'm Larry Rose. I just like to say I've been here for a long time. Some people have only been here like 3 or 4 years, but this Lafrane thing, I mean, I got along with her when I first got here. I give her fuel. They siphon fuel out of her tank. I give it to her. No thanks, no nothing. My kid paid the other. We paid for 125 gallons of diesel one day because somebody stole it and she couldn't do her thing. This is the way she thanks people. The thing I'd like to kind of bring up is she just made 105 calls to our lawyer here. And that bill was like 42,000 and Outland put about 23 calls. That guy, that's my full-time lawyer. How come let this happen? I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, and she's worried about $30,000 to investigate somebody that calls a lawyer 103 times in 1 month. I mean, the poor guy, that's a full-time lawyer just for her. And I just don't understand that. To protect herself, I don't understand it. Thank you.
I got to go home and feed my dogs and cats. They really serve me. But, you know, this August, I've been here 7 years. Make me an old timer. I've been to his garage. That makes me an old timer. I've gone to the meetings. And so as somebody standing back and watching what goes on, you know, I voted for Allison. When she came up, I was all for her because she had been, in my mind, kind of treated badly when she was running the horse arena. And so I voted for her. And when she showed up, she wasn't the person I voted for. And I'm not here for character assassination, but I saw many meetings where she would get very accusatory of somebody and be completely off the planet Zorg or something. She's completely wrong about what we were talking about. I do know this, that I've watched Stacy be a mayor and a council member. When he first started, I watched all the hard work he did the first time around, getting the pond down in the park going, the hard work above and beyond being a mayor or anything like that, even though I never filled in my ditch, which I was hoping he would do. But I don't like this character assassination. I don't like anybody saying this is a show trial. I think the lawyer that came up did a really good job. I was very impressed. He's got too much hair, but other than that, he's a pretty good guy. But anyhow, I don't think it needs to be that kind of personal thing. It just doesn't seem like something's, I don't know what goes on with Allison. You know, I have no hard feelings towards her, but there's something about what's going on doesn't add up. And so let's get this done. The last thing I'll say is when you guys were all came, I used to be an English teacher. When you guys all showed up, I said that first meeting, I wish you guys would make an agenda of what you'd like to see in the coming year to get accomplished. And I'm going to ask you that again. You know, we get past the golf course and all that stuff. Let's figure out how we can make this city better and set some goals and stick to that. Okay, you guys are all great, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you for your comment.
Good evening, council. Sorry about my attire, little dirty. So I'd like to say a couple things about a Facebook post that was posted today about corruption of staff. Corrupt individuals is how I would say it. As the public works superintendent, I do not run a personal agenda. I have an agenda of the public. So being put in a corrupt individual status is not okay with me. I do not follow anybody's agenda other than the residents of Ione. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
And I voted for Allison too. I even had a sign in my yard. What a mistake. No, Allison gets on Facebook. She was on there, I think Monday, or she was on there this week. She gets on there and she goes on and on and on. I don't think any city councilman should say anything on Facebook. Only thing they could say is, hey, we're having a car show or we're gonna have a chili cook-off or something like that to bring the people. She gets on there and she just goes on and on. She posted a statement about me. And I didn't want to do nothing, but I could have. I just kept, and she says that I was driving around. I'll tell you the whole story. I was driving around looking at Trump signs, something to do. I'm retired. And she said I stopped and looked in her window. I don't know if you ever noticed her house, but man, you'd have to have 100, you'd have to be like Superman to look into her window because her yard's a mess. And then she posted on, and she said that the video, she had a video and it was at the police department. So I didn't say nothing. I said, let her go on because I know how she is. So then I seen Chief one day and he said, she never sent me nothing. And, so I said, I don't care, And then the other day at the meeting, a couple of weeks ago, she says, you want to see the video? I got it. And I said, I ain't gonna tell you what I told her, but, she just goes off. And she's ruining the city because everybody's pissed off. I hate to say anything about anybody, but you guys have to do something with her, get her to calm down, to get off of Facebook, because she says some of the worst things. And I don't know who's feeding her the information, because some of the stuff she puts on there happened before she was even in town. So somebody's feeding her stuff, and I ain't gonna, you guys, you know what I'm talking about. But you have to do something, and I'm glad that you did what you did. And the censor was what, 4 votes, wasn't it? I think even Dominic voted for it. It was 4 votes. It was 4 votes. She didn't vote for it, but the other 4 did. So I'm glad you had the investigation. And we can't afford to keep having her get a hold of the attorney for every little thing. And she picks on our city manager, and he's the best city manager we've ever had. Look at the money he's making on our money in the bank, almost 500 a year. Before, we never got nothing. So you guys have to do something with her because she's ruining the town. Because you can't get on Facebook and start saying the stuff she says. Thank you.
Nothing negative. I don't have anything to say other than I wish you guys had done this at a regular meeting so that we could have had both of the other council people here too. So if they had any questions, he's here now to just talk to. It just, to me, it looks a little bit more open. I think sometimes we create our own problems where people have to vent somewhere else because these two aren't even afforded a chance to talk to him to even find out what's going on. So when we do these things really hasty or we push them to the side, it creates more I'm trying to think of the proper word, but we all get like, hey, why didn't this thing get addressed? Why don't we do this in an open session with all 5 of you? It seemed to me that if there was only going to be 3, we could have done this next week at a regular meeting. We didn't have to do a special meeting for this. And this gentleman might have been able to, these 2 might have had some questions that he could have answered, because we can't ask him what you guys can. You're unlimited time and you can ask him any question you want. But knowing that those 2 weren't there, I would just say as feedback, going forward, something that's this important that you're actually going to censor somebody, I would make every effort I could to try to get all 5 here so that everybody can ask everything and it's open. Everybody can see what questions were asked and that it's clean. When we go to a vote, it's clean. Right now, it looks like there's 2 people that aren't here, and this was probably decided before this meeting started. That's just my feedback. Thank you.
Mitzi Windley, Fairway Drive, I own. I think the attorney said that you gave how much notice to these 2? And she replied on Sunday that she wouldn't be here. Is that true? When did you give them notice that this meeting?
June 27th.
So they've known since June 27th. That's a lot of notice. I've come to several meetings. It's at 6 o'clock, so they can't complain that it was early and they couldn't get off from work. And all the meetings that they have had, special meetings, those two usually show up. My guess is they chose not to show up, but I can't say that because I don't know for sure. But I do know they did have plenty of notice. Thank you.
Hello, Selena Mitchell, Parks and Rec. I just sort of wanted to piggyback off of what Zach Finch said. It can be overwhelming to wake up every morning to go to work before you go to work and you see another Facebook post or another I own news and safety, and it's not always generated by Miss LaFane, but typically it's a topic that is negative, and I feel like just since having worked here for the past 2 years, it can be very hard to come to work every day feeling like we all work together really well. Everyone gets along well. Everyone's here with the city's best interest. We're all here to do our job. Nobody's corrupt. Nobody's making a bunch of money on the side. We're all just doing the best we can, and yet constantly members of the public are putting us down, calling us corrupt, calling us incompetent, saying that staff or other city council members or the city manager or the city clerk or whoever it may be doesn't know what they're doing and we're all a bunch of idiots. It makes it hard to want to go to work every day. And I think that that negative sort of vibe has been created by a couple particular people, and you post something on Facebook and people run with it. So it's unfortunate that we're all here tonight. And as a staff member, it's a definite negative aspect to having this job. So I just wanted to state that. Thank you.
Thank you, Selena.
Thank you, Selena. We all appreciate you and all the staff.
Dave Livingstone, Wildflower. Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Lawyer. I found, as he was reading through his document, I found one thing quite interesting. Probably, in my view, the most important thing in this document. And it's the code of ethics, the code of conduct. And there was a lot of talk about that tonight, but I would ask one question of the council. Which one of you is in full compliance with those code of conduct and code of ethics in the time you spent in office? Have any of you ever violated any of those code of conduct, code of ethics? That's my only question. Thank you.
Hey, Dave.
One for you. So I decided tonight I'll use this opportunity because I don't have to worry about somebody in the corner up there making remarks. Zach, please don't quit. Selena, please don't quit. It says a lot when you got now the fourth department head. You've had chief in the past and the department head of the maintenance and your parks and rec and your wastewater that all have similar complaints, right? Think about that, everybody. Like, I know everybody has their side in here, but think about what I'm saying right now. 4 department heads have a problem that we're talking about tonight. Now for positive stuff for a second. Zach, before you got here, I would call Stacy back in his year before becoming mayor, because when I first met him, you know, he was very technical savvy and I talked to him about pumps and everything. So I'd hit him up and say, hey man, you got a second to come down here and check out a problem we're having in the maintenance department before Zach got here. Yeah, sure, he'd pull up. The guy has a full snap-on kit in the back of his Hummer. And here's a picture of him and one of the maintenance guys. He's taking apart the pump for them. I help with the wiring. You remember that, right? I get a little credit for it. So he's helping us out. That's one time. Here's the air compressor at the yard. Not a lot of people know how to, I mean, Does anybody up here know how to use a fluke meter? Or, yeah, I know you do. That's it right there.
I tried.
So, you know, he's been questioned on what he knows how to do, and the guy knows how to do it. You know, now I got Zach, and I always hit him up, and he comes over and helps me get a diesel pump going or something like that. But before Zach, I'd hit up Stacy, and he'd come down right away and help me out, and it was great. And you can see he's always in his work gear too. You can see his work boots on. So he'd take time out of his day job to come down and help me out. Facebook would be great. Andy, good point. Let's turn her Facebook off. Can't take it no more. You know, I don't have Facebook, but it's significant enough to where I find out about it and it sucks. What she's saying on there is just all untrue. Like, Allison, I know you're gonna listen to this. Just get off your Facebook. Like, come on, like, give us a break, you know? I turned it on for one day and I got to, I had to make a fake account because they denied me the first time to get on the Ion News and Safety. I don't know if they knew my name or something. So I made my name Wastewater Justin and they approved that one for some reason. But anyways, I get in there, I breached them, and I get to see a post that Stacy had done that I invited him down. If you guys seen the one where we're turning the water on, I called him up. We were told at 5 o'clock that evening, George called me, hey, you can turn the water back on tomorrow. Can you do it? Absolutely. You know, we need to get that golf course saturated. And we had just put in a temporary bypass, and it took 2 days. And if you ever lifted a 8-foot PVC, or sorry, Schedule 80 pipe, it weighs 50 pounds a piece. And we did 700 feet of that. So it was exhausting to just turn around and be told, hey, looks like we could turn, DDW said you could turn the water back on. And so I called him, I said, hey, can you come and be honorary operator, you know, like, and I'll get to why in a second. Yep, came down, did that, and I made a video of him, and he posted it, and I went and admired it, but then I seen a comment right away from LaFane on there saying, look at these two, celebrating like it's a joke, all these people at Castle Oaks, what they went through, you know, and I totally agree. Like, it sucks what Castle Oaks people went through, and they were scared. You know, I know everybody, it affects all of your home prices. That was horrible. But it really was hard on me for a month coming in, waking up sweating in the middle of the night, coming in at 3 a.m. thinking, man, that pump might be burnt out. That burns out. That's going to cost 30 grand. We're going to have to, you know, get an emergency pump delivered. Like, the golf course can go without water for a couple days. Like, that weighed on me for a month. It was rough. So for her to get on there and smear us for trying to celebrate and have a good time in the moment, that sucked. You know, and furthermore on that, Stacy was coming in for me because he knows I have a family at home. And, you know, he was working around with my schedule. He'd come in and he'd turn off a diesel pump or he'd turn off the pump for me. So thank you for that. You did that for weeks. So I'd have to come in on a Sunday evening and I could spend time. He literally said on the phone, no, I want you to spend time with your family. Let me go in. I said, okay, I know you know what you're doing. So go ahead.
You got 30 seconds.
Okay. This is my last one. So this is the last day. We went to lunch to celebrate. And then I told him I liked the certain salad dressing at the Castle Oaks golf course. And he brought this to me. And just want to say that I appreciate it. And just once again, please don't quit, staff. You know, we got a really good staff right now. And I know turnover is huge here. Like, I know we'll get through this whole little ordeal we're dealing with. So.
Thank you, Mr. Justin.
I just have a couple of, actually I have one question. This is a pretty comprehensive report. How many of the council members saw this report ahead of tonight?
All of us.
All of you? So isn't it surprising if you were a council member, this is kind of my thinking, stupid me, and I was in this inquisition and I saw that report, wouldn't I want to be here to defend myself unless I couldn't defend myself? There's no way that it would take heaven and earth to keep me from being here. Yet 2 important people aren't here. To me, it makes absolutely no sense. I do know that in the things that Allison has written and written about me, she's really good at going on and on and on and on and on. And she has a couple of things that are true, and she weaves in the innuendo, and she weaves in the lies, and by the time you get to the bottom of what she's had to say, you don't even remember what she said. But I'll give you one example of what she did do. The last council meeting, she said that there was a meeting of the public 2 years ago up at Evelyn Bishop Hall, where we had basically a city hall meeting. and that the most important thing they asked for at that meeting was girls softball. I was at that meeting at the request of the then city manager and whose finance committee I was part of. And there were three things that went over and over and over again from the people in that audience. One was pickleball, the other one was more tennis courts, and the other one was disc golf. Baseball fields and all that stuff. If it ever came up, it got lost with all of that. So it was not the number one issue at that. But she makes that statement because anybody in this room there? So you believe her? Well, I was there. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Any other public comment? We got anyone on Zoom, Chief?
No.
Nope. All right, we'll close public comment. Where we go from there, Mr. Council?
Just
Jody and Jen. Excuse me? Anybody else want to make a comment? I plan on making a comment. Sure. I was going to ask you what you wanted to say, or would you rather have us comment first?
I just wanted to say that it's difficult to remain neutral at times, primarily because of all the attacks that I see the people subject to. One of my main top priorities is to protect and lift up the staff. The city staff does a wonderful job. If the public knew on a regular basis what they do on a daily basis and how much they do with the little staff and resources they have, you guys would be amazed. But the staff, we have a wonderful staff, and that's, I mean, everybody in the office. And it is sometimes discerning to me that they are continually, beat up for supposed corruption or whatnot. I can assure the public, there's no corruption going on. I mean, there's too many people around. I mean, I don't know where all these allegations of corruption is coming from. Maybe I make mistakes sometimes. That's true. My mistakes I make is on the zealous side of trying to get something done too quickly for the residents of Ione. So that's on me. So I ask, the public, I ask everyone else, if they have an axe to grind, hey, at the end of the day, you can blame me. It's on me. It's not on anybody else, but it's on me. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, George.
Anybody want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. Here's a couple issues I have with tonight. Special meeting, we make the investigation report, which again, thank you for completing. I think it was done very well. Has some very alarming findings. Also is backed up by quite a bit of documentation. We vote to make that public, give them 5 minutes to read it, and then we're supposed to deliberate and make a decision. Allison's not here to defend herself. I do not know why she had to miss. I know she seems to enjoy confrontation probably more than most. So I'm sure if she could be here, she would. Dominic, I'm not sure why he wasn't here. I've heard he had to work. Some people do have to work. On Thursday nights, you won't find me up here. You'll probably find me in front of your house trying to figure out what your house number is so I can deliver a paper. My point is, I think the public deserves the right to digest the information and get to see all the information and go through it to come up with the conclusions. And I do believe there are some allegations that have been founded and need to be addressed. But I also want to have Allison give her testimony or give her answers and have the opportunity to defend herself. I have been on this path. I've been accused of multiple things. They've come before here, if you remember, off one comment that I made. I explained myself. I didn't get an investigation. I didn't get any heads up. I just arrived at the meeting and they weighed into me and I explained it, and that wasn't good enough. And then they came back with the second time and that wasn't good enough. And then they came up the third time and then they said, oh, you know what? I'll just let it slide. I've had 7 different times that one of the other council members has turned me in for supposed violations to the FPPC, which are all unfounded. So I've been on the path, and occasionally I've been given the chance to defend myself. And I, as you may be aware, do not spend a lot of time on Facebook talking about other council members. I do spend a lot of time trying to promote things like the car show, things like the staff. So when I see the police have a new motorcycle cop, that's just done something phenomenal that many failed at, I celebrate with you and with the staff. Again, I think the findings are there that justify some sort of action needs to be taken, but I think Allison deserves every right to defend herself, and I believe Dominic deserves a right to get weigh in on it as well.
Okay, I'll go ahead and go. When I decided to run for council, I come down and visit, I know most of these people. I've lived there basically my whole life, and I come down, there's several new staff I never known. I know Janice, obviously. But that was the first thing I heard from everybody. This is the most miserable place to work. We hear nothing, we get nothing but complaints. Council member Lefane is constantly, mayor at the time, Lefane is constantly in there asking for requests that just made their job not only miserable, but they were also being browbeaten, beaten down, and being told they're doing a terrible job while they're trying to fulfill requirements on a limited staff that we have. And if they could not come up with the requirements that she wanted in an X amount of time because of the time factor, she was on them. And so this was one of the things that really piqued my interest in continuing to run for council. Trust me, it's been difficult at most. I do want to mention also that I believe that Councilmember, this is my opinion, obviously, Councilmember Lefane and Councilmember Atland could be here tonight. I don't know if Ms. Lefane, I assume she had some sort of outpatient surgery, but to let us know on Sunday when we knew this, she's known this since the 27th of June. Usually people have outpatient surgery, know in advance. I'm not saying that this is accurate. It's just makes me wonder. Those things are usually planned in advance as opposed to something emergency. From what I understand, Dominic's not here tonight because he had a vet appointment. So that's what I'm told. He had to go to the vet. Not that he was working. My hearing aids are going out. I know that I want to make another point real quick and then I'll wrap up with some quick little things. This was a vote that an ally of Councilmember Lefane, Dominic Atland, requested that we hire this investigator. Let's keep that in context, folks. It wasn't us three that did that. We agreed to the investigator. We could have made a censure motion that night, but we did not. We wanted to make sure it was fair, balanced, unbiased. And that's what happened in this case. The social media stuff is just way out of hand. I'm not even going to get into that. It's covered in this thing here. I know that we vote on matters such as censure. We're the ones that have to make this decision, but it's important in my mind to remind ourselves, because a lot of people think we are the ones that want to do this to Allison. What was the cool girl named Allison? How that came about. With Councilmember Lefane. But it's important in my mind that we remind ourselves who or what really caused the censure. Did we vote to do this? Yes. Did he vote to do this? Yes. That's 4 out of 5, by the way. It's not the council. It's not the city manager, the attorney, the staff. It is solely the responsibility of one council member's actions, and that's Councilmember Lefane's. Her responsibility and her actions only. To be transparent, we hired this independent investigator. Once again, I'd like to make this very clear, with a motion from Dominic Atland to come to an impartial and accurate conclusion on the alleged actions and intent that Councilmember Lefane has been accused of committing. At a great deterrent, and it's a possibility that there's been some things that have really had a great deterrent to the city. Mr. Miles did his report without bias. He's proven that tonight. He's told me so. He's told you so. Absolutely no pressure from anyone else. He's told us all that also. He talked to, I think, up to 20 witnesses that were interviewed. I talked to him myself. I was in Oregon with my wife. We had an hour-long conversation. It was professional, nothing leading, completely honest. I was going to refer to the code of ethics and the communications and the city council meetings. Our attorney also did that. Mr. Miles did that also. I think it's very important if you folks look at these things, I think you should look at them. When it comes to code of ethics and stuff like Mr. Livingstone asked a question about that. I'm going to read this. I'll answer you at some point on that. Okay. I believe, I know Alice, I'm sure Mrs. Fain is listening to this now. And if I were her, I'm just like Mr. Caputo. There's no way in hell you could keep me from not being here tonight. I'd be here. I would be defending myself like Mr. Mitchell did. What concerns me there is that we have our own little issues when it comes to our own little things that have happened to us through council, or, you know, what happened with Jack or Stacy or whatever. But we can't let that clog our mind to what we're actually looking at right now. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about what's happening here. I think personally, if it was me, and I had these allegations of me, I would resign tonight. I would resign. I'd apologize to the city, which I believe she should do. I think she should apologize to the council. I think she should apologize to all of you. She should apologize to the staff, Waterstone, Justin, our Public Works, Parks Commission, and apologize for all the lies, innuendos, and fabrications and hate speech that she's done on Facebook. We all know, other than a few people that support her, we know we don't like some of the things any of us say on Facebook. I personally try to stay off of it. I do a yes, I like once in a while, but I read it. I quit reading it for a while, and I'll wrap up, I promise. But this is very near and dear. We've got a long ways to get here. I read it and I quit, and I told myself, man, I can't do that. I have to be aware of what's being said by people, you know, so I can know how I defend myself, or to respond, or to agree, or defend. So I'm, you know where I stand on this. It's quite obvious. So your turn, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Rhodes.
Well, I found out I was a millionaire today until I went to the bank and found out it wasn't true. Had half my office clapping, thought I was a millionaire and my family. We made the emails open to the public too, so I think those will be posted online, right, too? And to why they are not here. You can probably put the puzzle together yourself. I myself would like to hear her side of it, but her trying to defend herself. However, until then, I would like to prohibit her from contacting the city attorney without our approval, prohibit her from speaking with staff without our approval, prohibited her from speaking to any government agencies without our approval. I don't know if that's something we can do, and then table this to the next meeting with those stipulations on there. That's kind of how council's supposed to work anyhow. We're not supposed to be just calling you up and chewing you out every 2 minutes over what you did or did not do. Is that something that we can legally do? Because I can tell you this, you're going to go through hell tonight.
I can respond to Councilmember Mitchell's points as well. Nothing, no action you take here is binding yet. If you wanted to move forward, you would direct me to prepare a resolution of censure. It doesn't mean you're adopting the resolution of censure. All the options are still on the table for the next meeting when that comes before you. So there will be another meeting for you.
So she could
consider
at the next council
and we
meeting.
would hope everyone is there, and we could even request Mr. Miles to attend by Zoom, perhaps, if he's available and willing.
Like moving forward, my concern is, one, her being able to defend herself, two, the public having the time to ask the right questions to her to answer to the findings of the investigation. Equally, the folks on Zoom and that aren't at the meeting have not seen anything.
Yeah. And the one thing is that in our policy, three meetings to consider this process is the max. So once it's considered at another meeting, that's the end, and whatever is the decision of the council at that point is the decision. So no action binding tonight. But in order to prepare for that meeting, you would have to take a vote to direct me to prepare a resolution of censure. It doesn't mean you have to adopt it, but there will be another meeting.
I have more. I'm sorry, guys, but I have more. I wanted to read what the censure I had it here and I can't find it, but what the council actually is allowed to do regarding the censure policy. And I can't find it. So
I can recite it if
would
you
you recite it for, yes, of course. Would you recite it for me too? Because I have several things here that I believe we should consider at our next meeting regarding what you might put together, so maybe we can adopt after we do all this. So I just want to make sure I get my 2 cents worth on that.
You could take no action, just provide a general admonishment to all council members to be mindful of the rules. You provide more of an informal warning that could be a letter or a statement from the council. And then the most extreme measure is a resolution of censure that's adopted by the council, and there might be some minor penalties included, but I have always said from the beginning that censure is a council expression of disapproval, and it's a means of holding each other accountable and to be transparent. It's we're not here to restrain elected officials and take away their votes or anything like that. That the penalties are relatively minor, and it's more of a transparent process. So there are some things you could do there. And some of those things you mentioned, Mayor Rhodes, are existing policies that should be followed already.
All right. What I'm actually asking, Josh, is what? I can't believe I can't find it here. I'm so organized. I'm so sorry, everybody. I know you want to go home. Oh, here it is. Censure. Censure is the most severe action, like you mentioned. Censure is a formal statement of the council officially reprimanding named official and may be combined with other actions, including but not limited to loss of committee assignments, suspension of city-sponsored attendance at conferences or seminars, loss of travel or expense reimbursements, or removal of other privilege as deemed appropriate by the council. Censure should be used for cases in which the council determines that the policy violation is a serious offense. A decision to censure requires the council to adopt a resolution and make findings regarding violations at a public meeting. To protect the overriding principle of freedom of speech, the council will not impose censure for the exercise of First Amendment rights, no matter how distasteful the expression was to the council of the city. We want to make sure those First Amendment rights are held. However, nothing herein can be construed to prohibit the council from collectively condemning and expressing their strong disapproval of such remarks. I wanted folks to know that. Okay, and when it comes to things that I like to consider, I believe, and I'm referring these to the items that Mr. Miles, what they would tie to. So for one, no contact with Demi Wright, and I believe she should be issued an apology. That was number 4 on one of the accusations. No contact, and an apology to Demi Wright. No contact with any city attorney, whether it be Michelle Chester, our wastewater attorney, or with Mr. Verinsky, without approval from our city manager. No contact with any city staff regarding RPAs, et cetera, unless through our city manager. We have a city manager form of government. All of us are supposed to be doing that already anyway. I don't believe she should have a stipend for 6 months. I believe that should be taken away. I don't believe she should have any voting rights regarding Castle Oaks for 1 year. That's on number 2. No contact. Number 3 and 6, I believe, are violated here. No contact with City Public Works, Parks Department, Zach or Justin with Waterstone or their staff. I really wish we could apologize. That's not good. Number 7, derogatory comments on social media, et cetera. I want to I know I can't do that now, but for the public to hear this now anyway, on the next meeting we have, I'm gonna ask that we put on the agenda that we establish a social media policy. I want to authorize, get the mayor to authorize and the city manager. I'm gonna ask them to authorize Mr. Vrinsky to do some research on other cities and around the area to find out what their social media policy is, because there has to be a check and balance on that, and there is none.
Yeah.
And so those are the sort of things I'm interested in, and I'm willing to wait, table it, have Ms. LaFane here. That'd be fine if she'd like to come, and I'd be happy to have her here, and she can answer questions from the public and respond. So I'm agree with that too.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anything else to add, Mr. Mitchell?
No.
Okay, cool. Do you have direction? Do we need to make a motion to
I would,
forward it?
A motion to direct me to prepare a resolution for Senate. It doesn't mean it's formally adopted. It just means it proceeds to the next meeting, and we would make all efforts to still let that meeting be an open opportunity for all
I think,
council
I
members.
think in the efforts of moving this forward in the time, I would make a motion that we make the resolution for censure with the understanding that that does not mean that it's passed, but there'll be another meeting to discuss things.
The next meeting is the last meeting the subject can be brought up, right?
The next meeting that it's considered, you have my best, we might want a little more time before next Tuesday. But
Fine if it's the next meeting after that, but I'd ask Allison and Dominic, who weren't here, if they can be here for the next meeting, we can get that together. That's fine. If not, then, but at the earliest available time so that she can put it behind her.
The next meeting, yeah.
Was that a motion?
That's a motion.
Yeah, just preparation of the resolution. Yeah.
Preparation of the
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Real quick, I just want to thank Public Works today. Swing by Perry Royal Park. It's almost complete. They laid the sod today. Public Works and Parks and Rec and Selena and all those that were involved in this. We owe them a thank you. You're going to see how nice it is. Anyway, it's well on its way. So hope to have a grand opening soon. Thank you for coming tonight very much, guys. I appreciate it.
And Justin, I've been sending smiley faces on my toilet paper, so if you see that. You're welcome.
I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Say aye.
Second.
Aye.
Good one.
Sorry.